Radio presents The Center with your host, DC Radical One.
Greetings, Black family, and welcome to On the Wake Up Radio. I am your host, DC Radical One, and you have entered the center. Shout out to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. You can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio at On the Wake Up Radio. Also, you can check us out at otwtube.com. That's otwtube.com. And of course, this is a last minute impromptu live stream. Shout out to Sister Fonessa, brother you got ripped off, who always managed to show up even on occasions where we do something last minute like this. So, as you all know, this weekend we had our annual convention, and we had a very actually a phenomenal time, to be honest. You all know me, you know I can be understated with things, but this live stream is going to be relatively short, probably an hour or less. And you know what we're going to do is, before they straight black brother Desaline, we're just going to talk about, wait a minute, just pause what I was looking for. It's not what I was trying to do at all. It's one of them days. Yeah, that ain't it. Yeah, that's more like it. All right. Yeah, so this weekend we had the before they straight black pride to Eshu Ogun, the 9th annual celebration, and we met out at the park in Temple Hills. And you know, I should be used to this by now, but it's one of those things where people kind of slow motion it. They kind of show up, then they don't show up. Wish I could make this picture bigger, to be honest. And so, you know, early on in the process, there wasn't a lot of people there. And I was like, I don't know how many people are going to show up. But as the day went on, you know, as I set the music up and got the food together, you know, all the things that it takes to set up, you know, more people show up, and we had a very good, in fact, turnout. But Desaline said, I was trying to make it big, bro, but you know, you work nice. Right, yeah, nah. I mean, if you do that, bro, I already know your schedule. I know your schedule's crazy, you know. Black power to nuclear Patah. Yeah, you had to get a couple of brothers with you, man, if you can, and just come on down. That's how you had to do that. But yeah, we had a good turnout, had some good food and everything. Brother Genie was on the grill. Wish I had that picture. It's in my phone. I ain't loaded up for here. And then that was Sunday, and then Monday we went out to the Anne Arundel County School Board and had our Raising the Flag rally. For those who don't know, it's probably in your school too, in your school, wherever your children go, or whatever your local school system is. It's probably there too. But they're really doing this thing with pushing this rainbow flag, trying to put the rainbow flags inside of the schools. Um, Even to the point of taking out the American flag, even, right? Putting the rainbow flag up. So we said, okay, well, if y'all can have y'all flag up, we can have our flag up. Our flag that represents our culture. And I'm gonna try to load up part of the rally that I had from phone camera video. But if not, the actual whole rally will be up when the whole one will be up probably, what's today, Tuesday? Yeah, I'm been all thrown off this weekend, I'm not gonna lie. Probably Thursday. So you'll get the notification for that. That will go up on a Thursday. It's approximately 40 minutes. So when it goes up, it'll go up at 8 o'clock, and I'll try to tap in, set it as a premiere and tap in, and we can chop it up about it there. So that'll be up this week. We also had the for you got ripped off, say folks was on CP time, waiting for the food to be cooked. Yeah, of course. And I saw a meme that was funny. It said something to the effect that you don't want to show up early to a black event because you'd be part of the setup crew. But SBPM, we have our own people, we have our own setup crew, we have our own security, we have our own things for that. So that's not, you don't have to worry about that too often, unless we know you. Then of course, we know you. If you're an unofficial member, then yeah, you can be part of the setup crew. So also we had, and I'm still waiting to get the video. We also back on Jeannie's show, a sister came on and she was talking about and it's funny because I had a similar, if I can get the words out, idea. I had a similar idea of like an apology. I don't even know what to say. Not an apology tour, but just a apology ceremony. That's what I'm looking for. Where different generations of people apologize. Older people, the elders apologize to youth, and back and forth, things like that. But this sister has said that we should have an apology ceremony between black men and black women. And then so one of the sisters, in SBPM, she was like, she's like, you want to write the apology for the men? And I was like, and then she was like, but you always saying that you need to reconcile and you're gonna do a show on blah blah blah. So you gonna write it or not? So y'all already know how that works, bro. All the brothers in here, look like we got more brothers than sisters this time. All the brothers in here know that once the sister say, you said you were going to do. We already know how this movie ends, you know what I'm saying? You had to make it happen. So the sisters, they had wrote out a couple of sisters, I think at least two, maybe three, I'm not sure, had wrote out an apology. It's a long one too. It's like 12 point apology. And I wish, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that from the sister, and I'm going to get what I put together for the brothers, and I'm going to post out the actual apology. So I'm trying to find some way to format and put it side by side and everything, and post that on social media, and y'all can help circulate that. We had a lot of people there with cameras in their hand, but we seemingly can't find a good copy of the entire video. Not really sure how that's working. What you saying? You got ripped off. You only got 20 minutes of. What do you only get 20 minutes of? Let me know if you talking about the rally. But so I haven't been able to get a good copy of the apology video. But anyway, I'll give you the description. The sisters came up, and I think Brother Genie played. He may have played the whole thing this morning. Okay, the rally. Okay, he may have played the whole thing. Was that this morning, or was that what's today? Or maybe yesterday. Goodness, yesterday morning on his show. Y'all gotta forgive me. It's been a long weekend. I'm struggling right now. And so the sisters came up, and one of the sisters in the chapter, she gave the main, Sister Alma, she gave the main part, and then she got other sisters to read parts. And then so I came up, and then I invited all the brothers to come up around me and to say what I had after me. And I don't know, that may have gotten around. I know somebody posted it up on I know somebody put it up on Telegram. That I know. Yeah, brother, I've been getting rest. Hey, I'm trying to anyway. And so I did that, and that was well received, and everyone seemed to get, I don't know, get some healing from that ceremony. So what we'll probably do, and really I'm just thinking about it. Well, actually, what I want to do, I'm gonna say this right now. Actually, what I want to do is, Sunday I want to go ahead and have the show with. I just want to have a group of sisters and chop it up and talk with them about, relationship between black men and black women. And I don't really know too many brothers that I trust right now that have a good feeling about sisters. To be completely honest. So for this, it'd just be me and maybe about 4 or 5 sisters. And then maybe in another month after that, have maybe like, how I normally do, like 3 and 3, and do it like that. But I want to do that, the one with the sisters, this Sunday. And can't believe that means tomorrow is Wednesday, but I'm gonna post that up on Instagram tomorrow and see if any sisters want to participate in that. I am looking for a particular age range because, being completely honest, even though elders have to set the standard, if you're older, you haven't set the standard as far as having a complete family and a positive relationship, or what I'm saying, marriage or whatever, and it's kind of it's kind of it's gonna fall on deaf ears. People need to see it. So I'm gonna try to get maybe 3 or 4 single sisters or whatever. Just chop it up and talk about different things, different aspects of relationships, and not even just relationships, but just general relationship between black men and black women, how they feel about black men in general, some of their experiences, stuff like that. So y'all know how it goes. I've done it before, but I think Brother Lord Bell, who I don't see in here, he told me it's been like 2 years since I've done that, which is kind of shocking. But when you're always on the verge of being banned and you randomly take breaks like I do to avoid being banned, it's not a surprise when I think about it. So I'm planning to do that Sunday, and then next Monday, I'm going to do a show, and it's so crazy. I'm gonna do a show talking about asking all your children safe. It's gonna deal with pedophile teachers, basically. I put that video up about a month ago, I guess now, and he's had a lot of views. Had a lot more views than normal, probably 2-3 times the normal number of views. And so, indeed, brother. So we're just gonna talk about all these instances, because what happened is I saw a post on Instagram, and it looked like this relatively young sister. Well, not sister, excuse me. Not nobody's sister. I mean, she's somebody's sister, but she ain't our sister. This relatively young Negro female who's a teacher, and is this sordid story of her and I believe 15-year-old student that she was messing with, and all this type of stuff. But this is what happened. I went to look up that story, and because I didn't have the perpetrator's name, all of these stories in the last year came up, like maybe a dozen different stories. And a significant number of them were female teachers. And I was just looking for middle school. So that middle school is what, 2 or 3 grades? So what I'm saying, so it wasn't like all high school, all that. It was, so when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, nah, we definitely got to talk about this, because this is like, when we talk about this whole rainbow assault on the children in the schools and things like that, as much as they try to delineate and separate and say it's different things, we see that you see clear as day when you see all this stuff. The frequency just in just a random search. Man, our children are not safe, boys and girls, from being preyed upon by men and women. I think I saw one. It was older, a grown woman and a little girl. There was one. I mean, so all of this stuff is going on, and you know how can I put it? You know stuff is going on, but the idea, or the sheer volume, the sheer number, and the range of the problem is something that you can't really grasp. You said, oh, in your region, there's a teacher. Was that a teacher, or was that just a random person? Because all the ones I looked at, all the cases I looked at, these were all teachers, and that's what made me say, oh, I got to do a show on this. Got to do a show on this, because it's all teachers. And what I saw, the video that I did was just the tip of the iceberg, and I was really just looking at one article to do one video on one case, and the floodgates opened up, and I was like, okay, that was okay, brother. Yeah, just send me the article. You put it in my Instagram or the email. Yeah, just send me that, and I just add that to the list. It's crazy how much this is happening, and I don't think anybody is really compiling the data. It's just being reported, and people probably moving around and so forth, so on. And so it's just it's crazy. It's really crazy. It's really crazy to think that you send your children to school for an education, and you send your you know who thinks that if you send when you send your 14-year-old son to school, that some 35-year-old woman is going to be trying to seduce him. Like, nobody in their right mind really thinks about, man, sure hope my son didn't get seduced today by some 35. And like, nobody thinks that. But here we are with case after case and all variations of the case. Even though we saw stuff like this, I think that chick was a teacher, like way back. What was her name? Mary Ann Latiro or something, where her and some little Filipino boy that she seduced and got pregnant by, and she was married. And I just feel like this, man. When you used to see that stuff, you didn't used to see us. You can't say that anymore. Our people are definitely involved in a lot of this sick behavior. So anyway, I went totally off the rails on that. But yeah, that is the plan for next Monday's show. And like I said, the rally will go up on Thursday. So Mary Kay Letourneau, yeah, thank you, brother, thank you. I couldn't remember the whole name, and that that case probably been 20 years ago, I guess. That seemed like a long time ago. So we trying to think that anything else major happened during the cookout. That was that was pretty much it, except for brother uh Dr. Kakai. He came up and had his people. They did some people could volunteer to have acupuncture done. He came up and did that. We had people come up all the way up from Mississippi and around the region, and we just had a good time, man. Like, if you were in the area and you didn't come and you had a chance to get free food, you had a chance to meet Brother Genie, uh, Trey Black Pride, to Daniil Davis. Say thank you for the program. Oh, no problem, no problem. But yeah, you missed a chance to have free food and sit around and um, build with the brothers and sisters and engage in fellowship and play games and all that good stuff. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know why you missed it. Next year is it's already next year will be the 10th anniversary. We plan to have it bigger and better. Brother Desolate said the hats have downloaded their mental software on the entire West and created new age Franken hats. Brother, hold up. Hold up, man. Hold up. I'm gonna just leave that up there. I might steal that. But everybody know that you came up with it because you got the video documentation. So I will cite you as the source, but the brother said Franken hats. Man, I'm tempted to just leave that up there for the rest of the show. Man. Mm. Yeah, brother, I can't argue with you. The way we acting is just insane. It's anyway. For some reason my phone keeps going off, even though I thought I turned off notifications. But it's funny. I was telling the sister, was that yesterday? The day before, one of them days, that I was like, man, everybody know. Well, it was the day. Yeah, it was the day of the cookout. That's what it was. So basically, what happens is when we have the cookout, I generally, well, no, not generally. I'm in control of the music. So if you come to one of our cookouts and you don't like the music, it's my fault because I'm controlling the music. I make the playlist and I run it off of either my phone or computer. And normally I have two different playlists, and I got about 6 hours of music loaded up, and we enjoy ourselves. And if you don't like it, we don't take requests. You know what I'm saying? It's plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? We got a little bit of something for everybody. We don't take requests. You know, if I like you a lot, and I run out of music, I'll let you put some music on. But if your music is garbage, I will take your music back off. That's how it works. So yeah, we had music, we had food, we had games, we had the children. You know, we had some children. They were over in the playground area. There used to be two. That used to be well more than two. Used to be multiple playgrounds, but in the area where we normally are, for some reason they took down that playground. I don't even know. Um. Okay, bro. Thank you. Said they got 90 days in jail and had to be on the offender list for 2 years, and they was with a 13-year-old. Anyway, we'll get to that. So yeah, they for some reason the park had took down the playground in the area we normally are, so people had to go back to the other the children had to go back to the other park. So, and it's like it was like a family reunion. You got to see people haven't seen in a while, um, and just enjoy ourselves, man. Because I'm gonna be honest. Now this is just me. Other than like blood related family events, like I only do events like this for straight Black Pride. I don't I don't really how can I put it? I don't really socialize with a lot of people that haven't declared themselves to be straight black and proud simply because for what? You know what I'm saying? It just plain just plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? For what? Like why subject myself to that? And why have them subject themselves to me? Because if they out here doing some weirdo stuff, I'm gonna be looking at them like a weirdo. Just plain and simple. So to avoid any type of confusion, I just don't interact with people on that level. So that, it is what it is. So whenever we get these occasions, it's really a joyous, excuse me, occasion to interact with the people. And it's always funny too, because people who I've never met, you know, and then some people I do know were like, oh, yeah, I listened to your show and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay. You're like, oh, okay. So it's funny. Um, it's just weird. Maybe probably the last 3 years or so, where every now and then I literally just be walking somewhere, and someone will be like, "Hey, aren't you?" And I'll be like, "Huh?" You know what I'm saying? Because you literally pretty much have to be at a straight Black Pride event to be able to see me and know who I am. And if you haven't seen me in a while, it's gonna be even harder because the look has changed. I've gone through various looks in the last few years, so it's always hilarious when some random to me random person is like, "Hey, don't I know you?" Look, probably not, and they're like, "Yeah," you know. So that was funny. That happened a couple of times. The voice is a dead giveaway. That's what I found out. The voice is a dead giveaway. Anybody who listens or has listened, if I start talking, it's like, get a weird look every now and then. But that's good that the show's getting around. I thank you all who are already listening and subscribing and show up for all the live streams and things like that for spreading it. Because, you know, the bigger it gets, the better. Because it's all about the message. It's not about me. But our motto still is get monetized or get deleted trying. That hasn't changed one iota. And brother, you got ripped off says, if you look down at the bottom, you can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1 and Twitter dc_radical_one. And the OTW tube is DC Radical one, all word, one word. And you can donate via Cash App at $ DC Radical one. I would greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. Anything that I receive monetarily, pretty much either goes to the channel or goes to SBPM efforts. That's pretty much how that works. For those that don't know, like things like editing software and um, things to back up files, the shows and the streaming software and things like that. Unfortunately, none of that is free. And so I try to get some of the best stuff I can to produce the best quality I can, even though in reality, I probably need to pay a video editor, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Learning on the fly to make it better. But yet, yesterday, yeah, that was yesterday, we had the Raising Our Flag rally out in Annapolis at the school board building, and it was not on time due to some traffic and some other things. But we came out, and if you were on, if you follow me on Instagram and you came in the live, you probably get to see some of it. I didn't. I saw that. I think it said like 47 people that followed or had at least tuned in at some point, which was pretty good because I didn't make the announcement, and so um, it was good to see that many people. And what I'm going to do, if you follow me on Instagram, is over the next couple of days, you will see, because there's a limit with reels. It'll be, I'm trying to edit it and chop it up so that you can get each part, each section of the, as part of a reel. If I can't do it that way, I just take pieces of it, like small, like 5-minute sections, and put it up as a reel. But you'll start seeing that on Instagram starting tomorrow. And so, and the brother said, you can go, speaking of Brother Genie, you can go to socialarchitects26.com and check out Brother Genie's, the second edition of his latest book. And also, you can also get his last lecture that he did here in Washington, D.C. at the library. I can't think of the name of the library for some reason. I'm drawing a blank. But you can get that also at Social Architects. And it's definitely worth your while to get. That video was shot by yours truly. So, yeah, I think it's beneficial for you to get. And I believe that's only $20 digital download. I'm not sure the cost of the book. But yeah, be sure to support Brother Genie because, he puts in a lot of work for us. And in his speech at the rally, he talks about how he got into this fight against the pedophile agenda. What was the impetus for that? And it's really a heartbreaking story. If you haven't heard him talk about it before, it's really a heartbreaking story. And so that spurred him to get into this fight, and he was of the belief that it was a small group of people, especially a small group of Black people. And then as he began to research, he realized that this is a culture. It's the disgusting underbelly of our culture. And then, I mean, we found that out. I talked about it before. I talk about it again. We talked about it with the Greek bamboo fiasco up in New York. I've talked about that many times. I need to get the video from Genie so I can actually show clips because it's been so long. People probably haven't actually seen the video of where he was speaking at the rally. It's rare to unify, those different factions of conscious people in New York. And we had done that, and we had organized, and we thought that we kind of had him on the run, and so a lot of things happened behind that. Some mysterious deaths happened behind that, and Greek bamboo has proven to be pretty Teflon. But if I'm not mistaken, there's still some lawsuits in that situation. But yeah, this exploitation of our children, this victimization of our children, man, it's got to stop. It's just got to stop. It's just plain and simple. I said that in the declaration. I think that's what I do. Y'all don't let me forget this. I'm going to make some slides with both apologies. I'm going to put them on one slide, and I'm going to start that show Sunday I'm just leave that up. before we get started. That's what I'll do. That's the best way to start that show. And if there's any sisters in the audience that are between the ages of, I say, 25 to 40 that would like to be part of that show, you can shoot me an email at dc.radical_1@protonmail.com. And the reason I'm looking for that particular age range, because I'm looking for someone old enough to be mature in the conversation, but also women that fall within the mostly reproductive age sisters. So that's why I laid up those parameters. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh yeah, Brother Genie talked about too, and y'all see it, but he talked about the goodness, some of the horrific things that France has done in Africa that he documented and had talked to people on the continent about. It's just things that I knew, but man, when you hear about them again, it's just vile and disgusting. The French are somehow among the worst of the worst. The reason I say somehow, because we just generally throw, or at least I do. I've generally thrown all Europeans in a bag, but the savagery and barbarity of certain groups seem to outstrip others. And the French are at the top of the list when it comes to just some of the just horrific barbaric things that they did during colonialism. And thing is that people, I mean, they probably up there, right up there with, probably right up there with the Boers, who I think are Dutch. And a lot of those Boers are hats. So they're right up there with them, man. Just for just savagery and just, of course, it's all unnecessary because you shouldn't be in Africa, but just complete degeneracy and just, I can't even. It's just off the chain things that they do, and whatever. Let me be completely honest. Whatever the brothers in West Africa or whatever happens, or if they freeze to death because they can't they can't get the resources to run their power plants or whatever, man, whatever happens, happens. Anybody remember that Rocky movie that killed off Apollo Creed, killed off my man Apollo Creed, and the big giant Russian was like, if he dies, he dies. That's how I feel about France right now, bro. Greetings to Raw Ital Vital Vegetarian. Greetings to you, fam. That's how I feel about France right now, because the more I learn about the savagery and barbarity, man, they were already economically just the exploitation was insane, but the savagery as far as the sexual abuse of our people, just it is unbelievable. And sometimes you forget stuff because that stuff was in Barbara Rudy's book, Homosexuality and the Feminization of African Males, which I actually have 2 copies of, and I still haven't read all the way through. I need to read it all the way through, but I'm not gonna lie. I remember when I was reading that at first, man. It's so weird because one, people aren't used to reading, but 2, I remember I was reading that and this young sister was looking at me and looking at the book and looking at me. I was on the train and she looked at the book and looked at me, and it was almost like she's like, "Oh my God, not him." The concept that I was reading the book to study, not because I was a part of that, but to study it academically, like didn't occur to her mind. She just saw like her mind, she's like, why would straight dude be reading this book? You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of funny, and I just looked at her. And then once she saw me looking at her, then she was like, ah man. You know what I'm saying? But her reaction was funny. But and brother, you got ripped off says, hold on. Said that Baba Rudy said there are no words in African language to describe many European affections, such as tongue kissing, i.e., French kissing. We know it's That is interesting, though not surprising. Um, you said you read homosexuality, African males, and then sex imperative. I read sex imperative first, so I read them in a different order. But yeah, man. And to be honest, we have, just to be honest, be real, especially us here, we have been affected by so many of their um, customs that it really takes some deep dive study to see what is and isn't from us. In reality, most of whatever we're doing, including in the bedroom, isn't from us. Um, and that's just a thing that you can be greatly affected as a youth by things. It is worse now because you walk around with a supercomputer in your hand, which you can accidentally stumble upon something it change your life for the worse. So that's it's one of the dangers of being here in the West. Being completely honest, it's just being corrupted, by evil. Um, that's just one that you think about whether or not you're gonna raise your children here. You think about, and this is one of the things that kind of irritates me too, to be honest, is that I see a lot of people, they talk about how bad the schools are, and then they're like, "Oh, you should homeschool your children." But okay, we don't have enough families for everybody to homeschool their children, and for people to make money to survive. So, but at the same time, and I can only speak about what was here in DC. But I know we have African centered schools across the country, but I never see people say, "Hey, we should support the African centered schools that we already have and put more of our children into them so that um, those schools can thrive and expand." Like, that's, for some reason, that's never part of the conversation, and I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? But that's never part of the conversation. One thing I've noticed that has happened recently is that and we've become very even in our Africanity, we become very Eurocentric. Like, our solutions are very Eurocentric in the sense of, let's, like, we'll look and we're like, oh, okay, we have a systematic problem, and then our solution will be to individually, we try to find an individual solution to a systematic problem. You see what I'm saying? Even though Amos Wilson warned us that no amount of individual achievement can overcome systematic oppression. But, in the example that I said, we'll tell people, hey, just individually teach your children at home. Let's be honest, some of our people functionally illiterate. They're not qualified. You know what I'm saying? To teach their children, our children, anyone's children. But we do have people amongst us that are qualified. We do have institutions that are already set up. And we never say, hey, let's support the institution that we have and help mitigate this problem, at least to some degree. So that's just one of the things that it just irritates me. I'm not gonna lie. And older people say grinds my gears. I don't even know what that means. But yeah, that's one of the things that grinds my gears, because we never look and say, oh, we actually have an institution that can handle this, or we actually have some people who are experts who can handle this. That's never the answer anymore. Um, I was talking with Brother Genie, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna blame him. He's kind of the reason I'm kind of late with this show. But I was talking with him earlier today, and I dropped a theory on him that I had about maybe about 7 years ago now, maybe long, it's a long time ago. And my theory is that the family is where people learn, where black people learn to at least tolerate black people, and where black people learn to love black people that they don't like, right? Um, and so my theory is that as families break down, it becomes harder to organize black people because we're not used to being around each other and struggling together and sticking together through crises and through disagreements and things like that. We haven't learned to even disagree without being disagreeable. And so that is a major reason why it's hard to organize in today's day and time, because people haven't learned to get along with black people. So we were talking about that. And for those, and I might have to redo that show with the clips. Be before they straight black proud of brother Kevin, but there is a marked difference between, and brother Kwame Ture broke this down perfectly, and it always stuck with me, is that there's a marked difference between mobilization and organization. In today's day and time, and well, maybe not even today's day and time, but before the pandemic, before Event 201, it was easier to mobilize people than to organize people. For example, Black Lives Matter was just a multi-mobilization front. And I know they were AstroTurf because I'm the one who called them AstroTurf, but I'm just saying, for this discussion, they had a great ability to mobilize people, but they had no capacity to organize people, despite receiving incredible sums of money. Like, one of the other things that makes it difficult is because when people who are sincere and serious don't receive the same amount of funding that AstroTurf movements do, because the AstroTurf movements are funded by our enemies. See, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we understand that part. But even people who, I don't want to say, even people who we can't prove are funded by our enemies, how about that? Still receive a lot of funding from the people because they don't ask the people to change their behavior, right? So, for example, a lot of people, a lot of black people don't want to stop being N-words, right? And one thing I realized, I thought about this today, is that I thought about it. I said, you know what's so interesting is that inherent in traditional African culture is a certain character that is expected. And I think a lot of people subconsciously recognize that they can't be Africans and N-words at the same time. And thus, when people start talking, this, some of this we ain't African stuff, and whatever manifestation that it comes, under whatever ideology it is, they ran to that because those things allowed them to still be N-words, even as they claim to be N-word Indians and all that. I literally saw somebody post, I think it was from Twitter, and said they would rather be an N-word than an African. I was like, see, I was waiting for somebody to say it. I should have screenshot. But yeah, so I mean that right there showed me all I need to know. And let's see, brother Desaline says, not only get along, brother, there's an issue with our people always wanting to recreate the wheel for the credit instead of giving praise and falling behind the brother or sister that first hold it. We got, man, y'all on it tonight. Listen. Let's all read this together. It says, not only get along, brother. There's an issue with our people always wanting to recreate the wheel for the credit instead of giving praise and following behind the brother or sister that first created it. Listen, let's be honest, right? To brother's point. In the modern 21st century context, no one, with the exception of the people in the organization that Brother Jenny came out of, no one has stood strong against the homophile assault like Brother Jenny. Nobody, right? And yet, the same people, as Brother Disney saying in the chat, who was looking at him and saying we got bigger issues and whatnot, coming out with movies and videos and whatnot, and now all of a sudden they the experts on homophilia. And go act like Jenny just don't exist. Coming out with all types of books and homophilia is because of the weed, it's because of this and that, and butt breaking and blah blah and yada yada. And none of these Negroes wanted to stand anywhere next to the brother when he was saying, hey, we got to stop this stuff right now, or it's going to come right into our homes and carry our children off. And now here we are. It's right in our homes and carrying our children off. I wasn't even thinking about it. I guess I'll do it next week. Yeah, I'll do it next week. You know, I took pictures of some of these books, man. Some of these books that are in the schools. I can't show you. This is what's insane. What I'm about to say doesn't make any sense because I just told you it's in school. I can't show you some of the stuff that's in the book, the most outrageous stuff, even though the book is in the school. Just think about that for a minute. The YouTube, me showing what's in the books that are in the schools, the library, in the school libraries and whatnot, would be a violation of YouTube's standards, guidelines. But it's in your school. But I can't show you. That's how crazy and backwards everything is today. That's how insane it is. Brother, you got ripped off says, and we know these Negroes are only doing this to specifically overshadow Jenny's tenure. Exactly. Because one thing, I'm going to be completely honest. You can say, what I'm saying? No one is flawless. Everyone has flaws. You can say whatever you want about Brother Genie, but one thing for sure, he's 100% sincere about this fight. 100%. And has been standing on it, way longer than I've known him. I've known him at this point over a decade. I met him over a decade ago. You know what I'm saying? He's literally like, being completely honest, he's like the modern day Dr. Collins. He's like, he's gonna hold the line on the 1-inch line. He's gonna hold, if he gotta stand out there by himself and hold off the entire rainbow assault on children, then that is what it is. Brother, you got ripped off. Yeah, bruh. You beat me to the punch. Says you can't even read verbiage from these books in the public school board forums. How? How, Sway? Right. I've seen. I got, and if anybody has a video, because I know we've had it in our Telegram, but somebody send that to me again so I can put those up when we talk about this stuff. But it is crazy that we had that. What, and brother, you ain't even have me turn the music on. I'm just going here just as is. This this has definitely been one of the rawest, most as is live streams I've done in a while. Just turn on the mic and get going. But anyway, Well, yeah, I need those videos because they had videos of people where my music at? Oh, where people are they're in front of the school board. They're reading the books in front of the school board, and the school board is like, "Hey, you can't say that here." You're like, "What do you mean I can't say it here? It's in the book. It's in the book." And all right, how about that? Tell me if that's too loud. But yeah, they in the school board and they're reading the books, and the school board's like, "Hey, you can't say that here. You can't read that," and blah blah blah. And the parents are like, "This is what's in the books." You know what I'm saying? And so he said, "Too late for music." Yeah, well, we had music for the last 15 minutes. How about that? But that's just that just shows you how insane it is. And so I'm gonna just say this: wherever you are, your local jurisdiction, you need to really be seeing what's going on in the schools, what type of books they have in the schools, what type of programs, and how much of this rainbow stuff they push in. And because his was funny, and you know the hazard behind this stuff when you see this type of stuff. We are upset about Florida, and rightfully so, because I'm gonna be completely honest, I can't stand Ron DeSantis. Like, the dude is so fake. You can just see the fakeness in him. Like, he's such a politician. I just prefer you just be raw and real. Just be racist. You know what I'm saying? But the dude, anyway, and he's a hat boy. I mean, he just totally bent over for the hats, man. Just dude make me want to throw up just thinking about him, man. Anyway, but yeah, nah, we upset about the thing going on in Florida or whatever the case may be, and but we're not even looking at. We're just looking at what they aren't teaching our people. But even the so-called black stuff that they're teaching our people is not stuff we want. I need to be teaching our people, our young people, about James Baldwin and all them clowns, man. For what? To be honest, we don't need to be teaching them about Martin Luther King other than what not to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like they was teaching Robert F. Williams. They was teaching hardcore Malcolm X. They was teaching Dr. Khaled and Amos Wilson, John Henry Clark, and Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen. You know what I'm saying? So we upset about what they teaching, but instead of taking the opportunity to say, "Hey, yo, the blackness, the alleged blackness that y'all teaching ain't black enough, so we're gonna bring the blacker blackness and you gonna put it in the school, whether you like it or not." That's how that really should have been handled. But even the outrage is under the control of the hats. And applied knowledge says the racist institutions are actively programming the children. Respect Brother Jenny for his efforts to inform the people of depopulation agenda. Whoever controls the media controls the minds of the masses. Indeed, family. I don't think anybody's even looking for. I don't even think people are even looking for safety. I think people are just ignoring everything, bro. I don't even think people are looking for safety. I think people are just ignoring everything. And just one of the things that's happening, to be honest, as I go past my time, is so many people, this economy has so many people in survival mode that a lot of people they're trying to just escape their circumstance or work their way through their circumstance or piecemeal living together, things like that. That things that are an existential threat don't seem as big an existential threat as trying to figure out which bill to pay and how they gonna eat tomorrow. And what bill to pay and how you gonna eat tomorrow, that's real. I mean, I can't argue with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's real life. I understand that. But with that being said, uh, you can't, you know, you facing threats on multiple fronts. That's why being organized helps. Because if you had multiple people, you had, man, the fact that you can't even get 500 people in a black city to join a single organization to accomplish anything is really shows the condition of our people right now, and shows that we in bad shape, and to me, it gives proof to my theory about family. So, I mean, the reality situation is everything starts with reconstructing the family, and reconstructing the family is going to take some it's going to take some reconciling between black men and black women, and it's going to take some hard discussions, some uncomfortable discussions. It's going to take some accountability from both sets of people. It's going to take some creativity as far as putting families together, because one thing we don't like to talk about that is a reality is that we have, just from the statistical data that I've seen and anecdotal life things, we have a weird dynamic in our community that nobody wants to talk about, where a minority of men in the community are reproducing with a majority of women, which then makes it hard to have families. Because if you had a dude, like, I mean, on extreme examples, I saw something. This guy was relatively young. This dude had 8 baby mamas. Like, how do you clean up that mess? One dude, 8 different women, like 11 different children. Now, even if you were on the continent and you were legally married to these women, the amount of money that you would have to make, I don't even know what that would be for you to take proper care of children, and then for you to have the energy to take proper care of the children as far as their mental and spiritual health. Come on, man. We don't even have no way of. We haven't come up with that. You know what I'm saying? We'll you know what I'm saying? There's probably some ancient wisdom with that and how a man can do that, but we don't have access to that. Let's just be honest. Well, you got ripped off says that jobs say they're hiring yet they never hired. This allows them to say we need workers. So boom, AI. No, okay. You say Mickey D just made a policy you can't quit your job. And that's weird. You say they're making a problem and benefiting from some, of course. Because ultimately, part of the Great Reset is basically for people to eventually just receive a stipend and not work and basically be isolated in their homes and all that stuff, which we have talked about before. So there's a lot of things with that. I ain't even gonna get back into the Great Reset and the Great Narrative. In fact, I think I need to get that Great Narrative book. I was reading it online, but I need a physical copy. I read better with physical copies than I do on the screen. But we say, brother, stop practicing polite. Man, polite not even practicing polygamy because they ain't reproducing children. That was just his 4 women was a marketing scheme from what I see. But that's a whole nother. We're not gonna talk about him until I believe September 7th, that his case will be adjudicated. Then we'll discuss that. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we're not gonna talk about it. Talk about him. Yeah, universal basic income. Thank you, brother. So, yeah, back to this weekend. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that I missed? We had about, I'm trying to think how many people we had at the rally. We had a good number of people at the rally, considering considering everything. Because if you're not in this area, depending on traffic, Annapolis, it's not around the corner from DC. I just put it that way. So it's a little ways, and it's when it's not a lot of black people out there either. So it's not like one of them places where you're like, oh, let's be jolly and go off to non-black people land. Yeah, not something we do around here. So, but it was a good experience, and Brother Genie will be. I'm not sure the day. Oh yeah, there was no non-black presence at the rally, brother. There was just, it was just us. It was just us. And KW Don said, online black gender will make reconciliation difficult. Oh, no question. But here's the thing. Should I say this online? All right, I'm gonna say it like this. I'll say it like this. When I was introduced to the supreme wisdom, from teachers of the Nation of Islam, there is a philosophy, if you will, of a division of people into 5, 10, and 85% of the population. 10% rich slave makers of the poor. 85% just, the regular people, deaf, dumb, and blind. And 5% poor, righteous teachers. That's a general synopsis, without going all into the lessons, because it's not really relevant. With that being said, I have pretty much, that kind of was implanted in my mind. And so, even in today, with everything that's going on, I have kind of divided black people into that 5, 10, and 85, roughly. And I do not expect to get the 10%, like, let's say somebody like New York's mayor, who's a hatful. I definitely do. You know what I'm saying? He's opposition. And the vast majority of our people, I understand, cannot elevate themselves to the point where they are able to engage in reconciliation. And that's fine. But nonetheless, somebody, just like I was saying earlier about holding the line, somebody still has to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Baba Rudy says there's an African proverb that says, give the warning, some will survive. So those who are willing to do the work, and those who are capable of reconciliation, those are the people we're looking for, and those are the people that we would like to build with, and build this reconciliation thing into a movement. And the rest, as the lessons say, they're dying their own iniquity. You see what I'm saying? But like the lessons say, you got to speak to one of the wicked from his wicked ways to save his life. That's all you can do. If they choose not to listen, then that's on them. And Brother Desaline says the hatch by 6 family building and live in one app while having their illegal wives live on the other 5 units with their kids. Then they file for assistance and the city pays them rent and food stamp. Now I knew the city was paying them, especially up there with y'all. That man, that thing has had control. My goodness. But nah, I mean I knew they was collecting boatloads of money. They got the nerve to talk about what black people are collecting in stamps and all that government assistance. But no, I didn't know they had that. I didn't know they had that. You know what? That's such a hat operation. Thank you for that, brother. Thank you for that. That's so hat like. I don't even know why I missed that part, but that makes total sense. I just know I just remember coming up there in Brooklyn a couple of times when they all come out. I don't know if they was coming out from their religious service or what, man. They was everywhere. I was like, man, let's get out of here. But yeah, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the reconciliation thing. I'm gonna get it from what the sister had, and I'm gonna put that up with what I put together, which interestingly enough, weirdly enough, well, just interesting, I guess. The sisters had 12 points to this. I literally had 4 or 5. I think 5. 2. And I spoke for the black man. And if y'all would like me to read it here, because I still got it on my phone, I will. If you would like me to read it, you can put a 1 in the chat. And if you would not, you can say absolutely nothing. I will give y'all a second to let me know that while I look for it on my phone. I know, brother. I'm going to the 90. I'm gonna go ahead to the 90-minute mark. I appreciate you, though. Of course, now that I'm trying to find it in my phone, I don't even see it. So, right now, let's see. I only see one. So I guess y'all just want to wait for the video to come out then, because nobody else is interested. This is how you know. Look, hey brothers, check this out. This is how you know it's not that many sisters listening, or if they listening, they away from their phone and whatnot, because not one sister has pressed 1 to hear the black man apologize, which I find shocking. You know what I'm saying? But because we got 10 minutes left and I'm getting off of here at 9:30, I know I promised an hour, but nah, we've gone past the hour now. What you mean, brother? You got ripped off? What you mean, radical report? Elaborate for me, please. But that's how you know it ain't that many sisters on here, because they not filling up the chat with 1 saying, yeah, we want to hear the black man apologize. But you know it anyway. So check this out. This is the apology. It says, to the original woman, the first mother, first teacher, the co-founder of civilization, I humbly apologize. I, the black man, the original man, apologizes to his black queen for not recognizing the threat of our enemies in a timely manner. I apologize for not chasing them back to the caves of Eurasia and destroying them. It says, I, the black man, apologize for ever comparing your beauty to that of our enemies. And I'm gonna stop right there. But y'all get a gist of what it's like, of how it goes. There's a video going around of it, and like I said, I'll grab it. Brother, you got ripped off, said I should do a whole radical report. Well, this is what I'll do, brother. If I can get both, if I can get the video with both, a clear video with both, then I'll do that. And I'll do it. Well, no. If I can get the video, no. I'm gonna do what I said I'm gonna do. I'm gonna print them up. I forgot I said that. I'm gonna print them up. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm tripping. I'm gonna print them up before the show Sunday, And then if I have the video, I'll show it. Because it's not that long. It's probably, I don't even think it's 5 minutes, to be honest. And then we'll get started with that show like that. So that's what we'll do. But that's just a taste of what I said. And I forgot. Said some things that then probably not gonna pass the YouTube censors either. But hey, it's what I was feeling. It's the passion that I was feeling. Mine came from the heart. You know, I told people I had wrote an outline the night before, and I said when I get to the event, I'll let the ancestors speak and do the rest, and they did, and that's what happened. So, and y'all can tell me whether or not y'all like that part thus far, especially since his brother's here, and I know brothers are gonna be like, man, we got some other stuff. Yeah, I know. that was you know, but we're gonna get that around to the people, and I already know that's not gonna be popular here on YouTube because it's the antithesis of everything that is made popular here, the seemingly never-ending gender war. And even the discussions that are had I don't think they're designed to be it's some people, I'm not gonna lie, there's some people. There's a brother, I think he's from the continent, but there's a brother who has a lot of dialogue with sisters, and I think he may be in the millennial range, and maybe in the late 20s, early 30s, I'm not sure. His channel is called, and y'all know I don't shout out people's channel, but I'm about to shout out his channel. I've seen some good discussions on here, and that's why I'm gonna shout out his channel. He's not affiliated with myself or SBPM in any way. I don't even know the brother's name, but his channel is called We Need to Talk. His YouTube channel. He's had some interesting discussions there, and I think he very much has found what I have found, and he's found that what I found when talking to sisters is that a lot of sisters don't have non-sexual interaction with black men, so a lot of sisters really don't like what black men think and feel and things we go through, things like that. They just can't relate to it because, of course, many sisters grew up without their father. And they had a lot of women, just being completely honest. And that was part of the sisters' apology, where they kind of talked about this, though not fully. A lot of sisters have a problem seeing black men as complete human beings. We have very much, both of us, and this was deep. And Harry, I'm gonna get this out of the way. I don't know if I talked about this before, but and I'll never forget, there was an episode of Oprah Winfrey, of all people, and she had men on, not just brothers, but men in general. And they talked about how, one of the things they talked about, the only part stuck in my mind, was how women see men. And this is Oprah Winfrey, this was crazy. Peace and blessings, Brother Crow. She said that, yeah, we very much see men as wallets and genitalia. Now, this is Oprah Winfrey 30 years ago. And I was like, yo, that's crazy, right? Now, again, I'm a young man. I was like, yo. So, seeing brothers talk to sisters on this internet and seeing how they talk, and of course, as men, I already know how sometimes we talk about sisters. We have very much bought into the small hat concept of dehumanizing each other, and not seeing each other as people, as complete people. Like, I just know for a fact that a lot of sisters, especially younger ones, if they didn't grow up with their father and they have brothers and things like that, seeing black men as actual full human beings, they not even struggling with that. That's just like a foreign concept. In order to struggle with something, you got to be like, whoa, man, this is crazy. I don't want to do this. Nah, I ain't struggling with it. That's like, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk to them, they be looking at you like, huh? Like, what you mean? Like I've had conversations with sisters about their relationships, and I'll be like, like, well, did you ever think that he felt X, Y, Z? And they like, he felt something. What are you talking about, sir? Like they just be looking at me like I'm speaking a foreign language, and I'm just like, I just be looking at them like, you intimate with this person, and the idea that they had feelings hadn't crossed your mind. I'm like, that's kind of wild from my perspective. But hey, it's just, but that's where we are as a people, man. Like, it's just wild. Like, we don't even have to talk about how the men, brothers objectifying women. We have to. That's taken as a given. But it coming from the other direction was a part that was just kind of wild to me. But one thing I realized is that whether we want to accept it or not, very much so, black men set the lead and the women follow. You look at rap as a perfect example. We've been talking all types of degenerate sexual nonsense and backwardness for a long time, and now Sukiyana and Pinky Red or Red, whatever the chick name is, and these other assorted, you know what I'm saying, glorified ladies of the evening show up, you rap it, and we looking around like, oh my god, who are these people? Hey man, these people 2 generations after Luke, man. So, and we let Luke come on the scene, do that stuff, and walk away breathing. So now we gotta deal with the collateral damage of it. And here we are, right? And the bad part is the younger generation that didn't have nothing to do with that is like, they the young generation of men, they're suffering the backlash, and they're looking around like, hold up, I just got here. What's the problem? I ain't got nothing to do with none of this. What's up with all the mass disrespect? Well, that's where we are. But I feel like I've kind of gotten a little too much into next week's episode. Kind of got off on a tangent. But I said that I was only going to go to 9:30. Brother, you got ripped off. He ain't going to let me go because he said... He said he look at you like you insulted Obama. Hey, man, you saw how people got mad at me. Brother, you saw how people got mad at me when I put that information about what Obama wrote in that letter to his girlfriend at the time. Man, sisters that I ain't seen on my page in years popped up out of nowhere to defend Obama. And I was like, all right, sis. I ain't even mad at you, You can go back to living your life now. You said your piece. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even going, So, man, don't even get started on the Obama thing. But, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And like I said, we will definitely have the that video up. In fact, it's already loaded. We'll have that video up on Thursday. And Brother Genie, I think, will also send an email out to announce it. So be on the lookout for that. As Brother Crow says, Hat Off has destroyed relationships with black men and black women. Yeah, we're going to talk about all that. I'm going to get some sisters on here, and we're going to have some intelligent discussion and dialogue on Sunday. And I'm going to let y'all know in advance so even more people can show up than showed up here, and we can have a good discussion. And that's the plan. And then next Monday we're gonna talk about this ridiculous amount of child predators in our school system. So with that, brothers and sisters, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for subscribing. Follow me on Instagram at DC.radical1, Twitter DC_radical_ONE. The OTW tube is DC Radical1, all one word. And the Cash App is $ DC Radical1. And you can email me, at dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. With that, I'll say Bibi for Hodie and straight black